Okay folks, here we go. We're now in part 2 of Mystery of Heaven Revealed. It's moving suns. Whilst I was searching for photos of the moving suns for you, I found this little gem. I found a spacecraft that looked like a comet travelling through space, and yes, I mean it's a spacecraft. Look at the shape, people. It is propelling itself. It is propelling itself. Yes, there it is there, folks. Some people would say it's similar to a Trekkie ship, and when you think about it, it's a logical shape for a ship. So yeah, there it is, folks. A spaceship propelling itself through space. And here we go. We've got photos of moving suns. As you can see, they propel themselves, and at first I thought this was a cut-off trick because I noticed there were different sections of the sun at different ratios. But then I started to notice it's actually the suns. I believe they create some kind of field that stops the jet. I believe the jets actually come out of either the thing that creates the sundogs or one of those ends, because basically every single one of them is exactly the same. They have this cross. Sometimes it's further away. I believe that's after they've done their initial blast to move. Sometimes it's so close to them, and you can see by the resolution and the graphics that they are connected. So, and it's not just cut-offs. So sometimes part of them are cut off by overlaying images, yes. But most of the time you'll find that it is actually the sun itself. Here's one where it's right up close. There's no distortion, and as you can see there, that's the sundogs being created by 14 suns all in a row. And they are sunlight, and you'll see some NASA photographs where some photos in here of NASA actually analysing these sundogs, a multiple sundog. You can see where the stars were. Again, now this north-south, I believe the north-south orientation, there's a reason. I believe this. The reason for it is actually for the suns to use their magnetic poles to propel themselves in different directions. Because they seem to all be going in that north-south direction. Even these things are in north-south direction. I've noticed deeper out the angle of north-south distortion, and that's a pretty good one, that one. The angle of the north-south is slightly off the further you go out, and I gather that would be because the dimension of north-south for that distance away most probably is at a slight different angle. I don't know how that one got in there. It's from the first part. There's trails. That's what these things create. As you can see, these things just constantly are everywhere. And again, they are all in the north-south direction. I haven't seen one go east-west yet. They're all travelling in a close to north-south direction. Yeah, it's just weird. It's it's not something that's yeah, the proof's there. It's hard to explain, people. I'm dumbfounded by what I'm seeing. That the fact that these things are only travelling in a north-south direction. I believe they use the magnetic fields to actually travel, and i.e. They do use some kind of propulsion system as well, and you'll see in some later images. But I've noticed that with some of these suns, they create one side of the sundog is red, one side of the sundog is green. Sometimes you'll see that these objects are actually pushing out a sundog, or they've just pushed out the sundog and they're moving away, i.e. this one is just pushing out a sundog in two directions. And again, I believe that's the one that just created that sundog. But yeah, they're everywhere. And as you can see, we've got green stars, we've got red stars, we've got yellow stars, we've got blue stars. I believe that's the object that's being shot out of the sundog. And again, that's a pretty good one of the sun pushing itself away. It's amazing to actually know that our suns have propulsion systems. And yes, I mean propulsion systems. And it's basically just something that I don't believe would happen naturally, and I don't believe that this rubbish that the scientists have been telling us for years, that they're pulsars. They're not pulsars, people. What we're seeing, and the reason why we have to adjust our telescopes to see these things sometimes, is because they are moving in space. Here is the physical evidence supplied by a corporation that supplies NASA with images. And it's amazing what you're actually seeing here. It's just stars moving absolutely everywhere. And again, always in north-south direction. Now that's a pretty one. I love that one because that proves that they are moving, and it proves that these propulsion systems are coming from the suns. And these may be ones that have actually just used a small burst of energy to propel themselves, and that's the initial thing being caught. But these are just being caught so often by, now here, that's what I mean about the distortion, but they may be turning, because that is actually one single image. There's no crossovers with NASA, and I've checked, I've looked at the pixelation of these images. It's not a crossover, it's actually happening by the optical illusion of the light, the refracting light moving into a different direction. So yes, these are actually happening, and you can quite clearly see them. I believe that sun just created that sun dog. Another one just moving away, and I believe that's the blast thing. That's, as I said, that's a sundog being created. I've just brought that one over, and you can see the suns look to be a mechanical device. It's absolutely amazing. There's a good picture of the sun. You can see those three chains. I'm trying to find the image that I have that actually has those long sections coming out of the star that look to be chain link sections, and as you can see, they're still moving in that north-south direction. And I don't know whether that distortion is them using that to turn or whatever. I'm unsure. As I said, I can do what the other scientists are doing. I'd most probably have the same amount of time on these things. I haven't done astrophysics or anything like that. I don't profess to have that kind of knowledge, and I truly don't believe that to understand these images that you need astrophysics, because you just need your naked eye to see what I'm seeing here. This is what NASA and the world don't want you to, or the governments don't want you to see. If you look at now, here's that spacecraft again that I thought was a comet. Any of these images can be gotten to by simply looking at the directions at the bottom, which will tell you the exact location of it. So yeah, so you'll be able to go and see the little comet spacecraft. Now that is a very big spacecraft, people. For that to show up like that, at that deep in space, that spacecraft is extremely large, and I mean extremely large. And that is a propulsion system coming out of it. So yeah, and again, moving suns in the north-south direction. Now, so you can see here the cutoff is here. It's basically absolutely perfect, because it's, yeah, just amazing what we're seeing here, folks. We're seeing what's actually happening out in deep space. These images are of the deep. Now this one, I can't actually work this one out. I think it's a craft again, propelling away from us, that one. Now again, you can see them. They're just all in a north-south direction. And basically, yeah, there's a couple in here where you truly can see the actual blast coming from the ship, and it looks like flames coming out of the sun. And I believe they are some kind of a ship, or yeah, they could be a life form. I don't think so, but you can see, yeah, the jet propulsion just there, and another one there. It looks like that's the initial blast of the thing, and you can see it actually coming out of the thing. Again, there's a star creating sundog, a sun just about to propel itself by the looks of it, and I think the ends of those things create the field between each other that protect the sun from the actual blast, or the radiation from the blast that they're creating, because it's got to be something that propels them. That's a sundog being created. I thought that was NASA analysing it. Another one that thing, I think that might actually be the same one we just looked at, but there are numerous, and if you just look at the directions at the bottom, each one will take you to a different area in space, and have a look at them for yourselves. They have different kinds of propulsion system. I gather red ones, yeah, depending on what fuel is available, I suppose, is what colour is going to be coming out of them, because each one has a different hue coming from it. That's a sundog trail, freshly created. You'll see little ones in the background all over there, and they're absolutely everywhere in that image. And they do get travel on. There's another one, and again you can clearly see that that blast is away from the thing, and again we see our little spaceship I've dropped that in a few times so people can actually see there is life out there, folks. There is proof, and it's extremely intelligent life to build a ship that large, because that is truly a very large ship. And I'm going to be out there with my telescope, folks, looking for this, because either it's an extremely big ship or it's extremely close to us. I gather it won't be in the same area as this image, because this was taken back, oh actually, wow, yeah, it wouldn't even be there now, it's taken back in 2007. So yes, what you can see there is a spacecraft. This image was taken in 2007 by SDSS. Yeah, so, okay, don't forget part 2, I'll see you then. Okay folks, here we go. We're now in part 2 of Mystery of Heaven Revealed. It's moving suns. Whilst I was searching for photos of the moving suns for you, I found this little gem. I found a spacecraft that looked like a comet travelling through space, and yes, I mean it's a spacecraft. Look at the shape, people. It is propelling itself. It is propelling itself. Yes, there it is there, folks. It's the sundogs being created by 14 suns all in a row. And they are sunlight, and you'll see some NASA photographs where some photos in here of NASA actually analysing these sundogs, a multiple sundog. You can see where the stars were. Again, now this north-south, I believe the north-south orientation, there's a reason I believe this. Some people would say it's similar to a Trekkie ship, and when you think about it, it's a logical shape for a ship. So yeah, there it is, folks, a spaceship propelling itself through space. And here we go, we've got photos of moving suns. As you can see, they propel themselves, and at first I thought this was a cut-off trick, because I noticed there were different sections of the sun at different ratios. But then I started to notice it's actually the suns. I believe they create some kind of field that stops the jet. I believe the jets actually come out of either the thing that creates the sundogs or one of those ends, because basically every single one of them is exactly the same. They have this cross. Sometimes it's further away. I believe that's after they've done their initial blast to move. Sometimes it's so close to them, and you can see by the resolution and the graphics that they are connected, so, and it's not just cut-offs. So sometimes part of them are cut off by overlaying images, yes, but most of the time you'll find that it is actually the sun itself. Here's one where it's right up close. There's no distortion, and as you can see there, that's